Welcome to the show, everyone. I have my good friend and soon to be yours, Bill Crawford, in the house today. How are you today, Bill?
Great, Azar. Thank you. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic as usual. You're coming in live from Chicago right now, and
That's
you're
right.
you're doing some fantastic things in the marketing world. And we've been friends for the last 3 to 4 years, maybe now.
4 years. Yeah, over 4 years. Yeah,
And I just wanted to sit down with you and have a chat and go through your journey on how you built out the agency, a seven-figure agency. What's that journey like? How did it start out? Tell us a little inception story, if you would, Bill.
for sure. I owned a basement waterproofing company for 15 years. And so for me, the logical niche to pick was basement waterproofing contractors. In fact, the last 2 years of my ownership of a waterproofing company, I just fell in love with internet marketing. It's just a blast. And I was doing it for my own company, generating leads. So it was totally a natural transition. The interesting to me, the interesting and not so fun thing about this niche in the digital marketing space is it's maybe one of the smallest niches in our group 7FA. My initial research said there's only 500 companies doing over a million.
Oh,
That
wow.
is, yeah, I know that's made it difficult because I'm doing all the same cartwheels and jumps and so on as everyone else. But some of these niches have 50,000, 200,000. They're doing all the same stuff, and it's just getting a bigger net out there. So
Hmm.
it's been a little bit slow. It's been a bit of a grind, but I have chosen to I really enjoy the journey. I love implementing. You
How
and
long has this taken you to from starting to where you are today?
I joined 7FA about 4.5 years ago.
And that's when you just launched the business at the same time, and you were just
No,
doing it
I
for yourself.
actually I've had my generalist agency for probably I think 13 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I never really advertised ever. I just I got up to about 60,000 largely through referrals. I didn't know there was these strategies that you should do like webinars, podcasts. I did do some
Or
association.
niching down.
Yeah, exactly. Niching down. Like I had in a big suburb of Chicago. I was right on Main Street by Starbucks, and I had an agency where people can walk in, and I'd sit down
Mm.
with them. They'd have me sign their non-disclosure as if they're going to be the next Steve Jobs or something. I would sign it, they'd share their ideas, and then I'd have to research their industry and try to figure out what the best people are doing. And that was hard. It was interesting to me because it's fun to learn that stuff, but from a scaling process, it's much more efficient, as we know, to be doing kind of the same thing over and over again. And everyone on your team knows what the game plan is. Sure, there's minor adjustments for the contractors that have a slightly different business, but for the most part, when they're coming in from the same industry, like people, if you have people overseas, they get to know your industry and your space, and you don't have to learn something brand new and research it.
Yeah, no, I get that. And then on the waterproofing business, so waterproofing business, you started that, and then it turned into a marketing agency in Chicago.
It was a franchise. I was a franchisee. As you own a franchise, you have to run it like a franchise.
Mm.
And it was a pretty tight franchise. Everyone had daily routines, and I was to be in a certain place at a certain time of the day. Meeting with my managers, I had usually between 40 and 55 employees, and it felt like a three-ring circus at times. So to do it at marketing and start with just a few people, that was
Yeah.
like so easy. If you think about this, I think this is fascinating. I had over 900 telemarketers. We had like canvassing departments where we'd go out and knock on doors at nighttime. We
Yeah.
probably did 25 to 30 shows on the weekends.
Wow, that's a
Uh,
grind.
it was constantly. We had three clipboards with applications at the front door, and I'd walk them out of my office, and there'd always be someone applying for a job for something. And so if you compare that kind of energy going into lead generation versus what we do in internet marketing, where we sit down in a quiet area in front of a keyboard, maybe play some music and talk to Google and create a website and do these funnels and whatever, create a podcast, like it's
Yeah.
such a different everything. It's really something.
Yeah, definitely beating the pavement,
Yeah.
pardon the pun there, right? Because you just think of all that energy that generating by knocking on doors versus what you do now for your clients inside your marketing agency. It's that quiet stoicism, I guess, of marketing. Like we're still creating all that energy, but it's a lot more efficient this way, right? Doing the inbound stuff.
Yeah, and the world's changed a lot. Like telemarketing got outlawed and so on. And digital, like I saw every year, digital just plays a bigger and bigger role. And
Mhm.
in my space, there's like the bigger companies, like a lot of industries, they're still doing some radio and TV and billboards, but that's usually the people doing 4 million or more.
Hmm.
But digital is just like, you've got to have a great online presence. You've got to have customer reviews. You got to respond to them all. You've got to be all over local SEO. If you're going to grow, you have to do Google ads. You have to do local service ads, and
Hmm.
it's game on. It's very competitive. In our space, we're having a lot of private equity companies buy out the smaller guys. Actually,
Okay.
they typically go to a market with, then they find the largest company and they try to buy those people first.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to settle for middle of the road people. But then the smaller guys and the medium sized guys, they get intimidated by that because they know private equity is coming in with good training systems, efficiencies, scaling, better management, and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
exciting.
Very exciting. So now, so 4 years later, 15 years into digital marketing, you stumble upon the concept of hiring a coach. Let me ask you, let's get into my three more questions.
Sure.
Let's talk about the importance of niching down. How
Mm.
big of a breakthrough was that for you? And what are your recommendations if somebody wants to start a marketing agency and they want to niche down? What's the one thing that they should be thinking about? For example, you went into the waterproofing industry, and that's where you built out your agency. Smaller market, but lots of knowledge. So I want to get a answer on around niching down and your to-dos on that, or maybe don't.
No, I would highly recommend to niche down for the purpose of just training. One is training your employees. Everyone's going to be working on the same. It's like everyone would be in a rowboat and everyone's rowing at the right
Mm,
time, and the rowboat's going to go faster. That's the biggest thing. And there's not one person on the team that's trying to figure out e-commerce, and there's another rower on the team trying to figure out like retail or something, and then this other guy strolled in and he's got the next greatest idea in the world, and you have someone on your team researching that industry. Like all the energies are being put into, we're going to be the best in the industry for this. We're going to serve our clients most efficiently. We're going to maximize their return on investment. And it's a beautiful thing because you do reach the point where when someone comes in and they want your internet marketing services, like when you could say, we don't really specialize in that, like I could refer you to someone that does, like that's a great feeling. And you reach a point where you get it because you don't want to be having to explain to your team, this client is in a different business and where you have to do things differently that way. And like, wait, what? Like all my like the SOPs are for this, and it's so time consuming that you reach a point where I let's just go for the people in our space because everything works better. Their customer will be happy, the results will be better, the team's happier, they know that what the game plan is. And
hmm.
like they say, there's riches in those niches. So
I
highly,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And I think like what you just said, that concentrated firepower, when we're starting out or when you're doing things, we can only expend certain amount of energy. And if we can concentrate the firepower, this is a concept taught by Jocko Willings in Extreme Ownership, that you may not have a lot, but what you have, if you can concentrate it, you can get more out of it. And
Mm.
this is exactly what I find true about niching down. So great answer, Bill. Thank you very much for that. Here's my second question for you. What's some of the digital marketing trends that you're betting on over the next year or so?
Sure. This isn't a trend, but it just continues to play such an important role, just customer reviews. And in my space anyway, I've seen over the last year or two, probably 80% of people are like, okay, you're right. I got to do this. I got to figure out how to get reviews regularly. But what I've seen is the bigger companies have just taken this thing to just a crazy another level.
Hmm.
Some people, some contractors in my space have 10,000 reviews. And what they're doing is like they understand the game. And so they're getting reviews on just appointments, like not sales. I'm in the in-home space where companies send out a sales rep to a home. And if
Yeah.
they don't sell it, like they're getting a review. And not only that, but they're training the customers to take pictures and to upload those pictures. So those reviews have stickiness and impact. Yeah, I even train their sales reps like old school in-home sales. If you get a non-eligible, it's frustrating because you could drive an hour to a lead or you're waiting all day and you finally get there and you realize the person on the phone didn't confirm the lead right. Now it's like, cool, spend some extra time with them, explain you don't do that, but go above and beyond and then get a review and turn it into a positive. Because so it's all about reviews still. I really, yeah, that's one. But obviously the other big animal is artificial intelligence and AI. And I think we've all seen it just explode since September of last year or something. But that's gonna, and I think it's gonna, Google is concerned because they're losing search engine views and people are going elsewhere to get their information.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big one. It's going to affect,
I love it. I think, yeah, I think the review part is like huge still. It's always going to, because you can't really, at the end of the day, you can't force anyone to write a review for you. So if you're doing something right, that they're putting their name on it and they're putting it up, I think you're probably going to give a good service. So I'm all for that. That's a great tip as well, by the way. A little more focus on all of us can do that. And then I'm going to come back to the AI question in a little bit. But here's another question for the marketing agencies watching us right now. What's in hindsight, Bill, like over the last, you've been in marketing for almost 20 years now, you've hired a lot of people. And what's in hindsight, what's one or two mistakes that you can avoid now in hindsight? What would those one or two things would be when it comes down to picking key people inside your team to run your marketing agency?
what jumps out to me is don't be cheap and realize that when you get someone on your team, you're going to have to, or your team is going to have to invest into them. And before you know it, they're going to be there for a year or 2 years and they're going to play a key role on your team. And if you hired someone that you're like, this is like they're like a C player versus A, B, and C. They're going to affect your company. But imagine if you can have a company culture where you feel like everyone is an A player and they bring positive energy and they're taking ownership not only of their job, but they're like a lot of us use this EOS system, entrepreneurial operating system, and they identify issues in your company and they help you solve things. Like that's powerful. If you can get those people on your team and you get a whole team of those people, that's a culture that anyone's going to want to work at. You're going to feel like this is about winning, this is about accomplishing. So I would say, that old saying of like hire slow, fire fast. That's a key one.
Love it. Yeah. And what a great feeling when you have these A players surrounding you on a daily basis, right? The energies are high. You want to go to that workplace every single day and just do some amazing work for your clients. And the same thing is true when you bring in and you cheap out, like Bill said. That's that one person is so easily able to drag everyone else down with them because the standards are not the same for everyone. So I think just having higher standards on the people who come inside your businesses, because that's going to reflect on how fast you're going to grow and how steadily you're going to grow. So love that answer, Bill. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to our rapid fire round. So here's a question. So here's I want
How
to
many
just
seconds do I get to answer your question?
about 15, 30 seconds, quickly
Okay.
riff on it.
Long stories.
But I won't stop when a good thing's going.
All right.
Uh, so reputation management.
Absolutely critical. 90% of people look at reviews. If you want to grow your business, sell more, get more leads, take care of your reputation online.
Future of AI.
Got to pay attention. If you have an agency and you're not implementing AI, in a year or two, you're going to wake up and say, wow, I got on the wrong train. You got to get on the AI train and implement as fast as you can.
One tip to selling online or
Selling.
selling virtually.
Oh, I thought we all do that. Gosh, yeah, identify One tip. Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
remote, but this is really related to, yeah, we've been selling for a long time, right, as agency owners, but some people, that's the biggest thing for them when they're getting started in the agency world. Like, how do they sell? So, what's your one tip,
oh,
especially while we're selling remotely, selling from our homes? And these contracts are big contracts that we're selling sometimes. These are like $30,000 a year contracts. So, what's your one thing that really works for you?
I just want to qualify a little bit. If someone's struggling to sell online, to me, it's way easier because you could focus their attention on exactly what you want them to see versus being in person, which I've done. Like here's a laptop. Do you see this? And you're sitting around a table.
Mm.
That's so just a qualifier. But the one thing that I think helps sell is when you show them where their competition ranks versus where they rank. A lot of owners are very competitive and they get their juices going and they're like, wait a minute, I know that guy, I don't like that guy. How do I outrank him? What do we got to do? There's something that changes inside the conversation that happens. It's like they left and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm taking this guy on.
Love it. That's a great tip. I think both of those tips, the you just gave us a freebie first, which is that it's a lot easier to sell online because you're in control of the environment. There's not too many moving pieces. We can show them exactly what we want them to show. Attention spans like fully on you. So that's a great tip. And then yeah, show them the where they rank and with their
I tell you, it
competition.
works. It
And we
works.
know business owners, if they're anything like us, they should jump on that
That's
and
right.
sign up with you. Bill,
That's
I
right.
really want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, I'm hoping to catch you soon, sometime this year, and back in Miami.
Sounds great. Back in the basketball court, maybe.
All
All right.
right, we'll talk
Take
to you
care.
soon. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.